Cool. Josh, you want to go over rates and stuff, or you want me to go over
Yeah.
the,
Did-
yep. Go ahead.
I forget, can I share my screen or can I not
Yeah.
share my screen?
You can.
Okay, cool. Let me go into here. And I'm gonna share away. So hey, pretty crazy news. The appreciation rates nationwide. I'll let George get into the whole San Diego County version, but nationwide, we're up for what, the 6th month in a row nationwide. Like it was 0.6% this month. So, and the update just came out, the year over year. So June of 2022, again, nationwide, the highest home prices ever recorded. We just surpassed that nationwide by 1.6% this month. So if the people waiting for the crash are still out there, they just got to wait longer.
Yep.
And that'll fix everything. But no, just kidding. I thought that was pretty incredible. And I still truly believe that when and if rates do start coming down, which I'm not super I don't really think it's going to happen anytime soon, just with all the different world events that are still going on and with all of the economic data that still comes out from other countries that have a major effect on what the United States market does. For that reason, I think we have some digesting to go through. And I think it's going to be more like second quarter 2024 before you start seeing any type of significant drop in rates. Just my opinion. What I've listened to other people, that's kind of what they're saying as well. And it makes sense because a lot of countries are lagging behind what's happening to the United States as far as inflation goes. And there's a lot of countries out there that still have really hot inflation. And even though it's not our inflation, the United States inflation, it still affects us and our bond markets. So we'll see. There's definitely some reports out there about the economy weakening. There's a huge moving company called Yellow, which I'd never heard of, but apparently they're the 3rd largest moving company in the country, and they just laid off 30,000 people, which is pretty crazy to think that a moving company has that many employees, but they did. So, and remember, what happens for home loan interest rates is the worse the economic news, the better interest rates will get. That's why recessions historically have always bought lower rates, and it's part of what the economists that we listen to have been calling for the last, seems like last 6 months. They've been calling for this recession to come, and it just hasn't been coming. In fact, the jobs reports have all been super solid in the United States for quite a while now. And so maybe we start to see that soften. Maybe we see some interest rates drop or improve because of that. But I really don't think we're going to see anything major until second quarter. How about this? Anything worth really getting excited about? Maybe that's a better way to put it. Until second quarter 2023 or 24. So I just think that for anyone looking to buy right now, you got to buy and just know that later on down the road, who knows when that's going to be. You can't sit there and plan on 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. It's just you have to hunker down and realize that more than likely you will have the opportunity to refinance. It's just not there yet. So quick update on interest rates, just to give you guys real time information on rates. One participant can share at a time. Boom. Okay, and I've shared this before, but this is the mortgage-backed securities bond market, okay? This is what every single government insured, so FHA, VA, conventional loans, USDA, this is what all of the interest rates are based on. This is called the candlestick graph. Each little candlestick represents one day in the bond market, okay? The bigger the candlestick, the greater the move that day. This is a 90-day snapshot, okay? So if you go out 6 months, okay, now we're seeing a little bit of movement, but you can see that back in March of 2007, we're right about the exact same levels when it comes to interest rates. It doesn't mean it's a match per match as far as, hey, the rate then was 7.25, the rate today is 7.25. Doesn't always mean that because there's things called bond rollovers, coupon rollovers, so that kind of thing that will, help offset pricing. But you can see just over the last 6 months, we've been in a 101 to basically 98.5. So we've been in about a 250 basis point swing. And that's really, as you guys already know, that's about a half a point swing for the last 6 months, right? Going up or down every single day. It's been about a half a point swing. And if you go back a full year, well, even if you just go back to say September, yeah, really September, the rates have always been within about a half of a point of each other for the last 9 months, 10 months. So where we want the market to go, we want it to go way up here. If the bond market goes up, interest rates improve. Okay. When the bond market goes up, interest rates go down. So we would love to be back in this area somewhere. That would get us down into the high fives for sure. It's just going to take a bit of time. And you can see, I mean, this is a pretty sturdy trend. There has not been much movement. There's movement every day, but we haven't had any dramatic breakouts over the last 9 months. And I really expect that to continue all the way through second quarter 2024 is my guess. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully we see something better and we're way up here by the end of the year or first quarter, but we'll see. Any questions on rates, anything at all? Awesome. Everybody's tired today. Other things, I just want to announce too, we have a brand new loan coordinator. For those of you who gotten to work with her, she's fantastic. Her name is Jordan Rumsey. So if you see her name pop up on emails, or if you get a phone call or a text from Jordan Rumsey, please let her know, and please know that she is with the PGS team. She serves in the same space as Taylor, as far as, you know, tracking any clients, following up with clients, taking applications, you know, moving files through the pipeline, etc. So let me know if you have any questions there. And that's it for now. George?
All right. So we'll start going over some Altos reports. No, I think you kind of hit it on the head. With the rates, I think, you know, buyers kind of have come to the conclusion that it is going to be what it is, because we're still getting multiple offers on properties. There's still competition. People are still losing. Houses are still going way above asking. My listings personally, and then obviously, you know, the agents that I'm working with, they're writing offers on properties, and, you know, one in Encinitas, a condo went 100,000 over. So it's still, the demand's still there. The inventory is still low. And I think that's all over San Diego County. I will say, when you start getting out into like East County, that kind of changes a little bit on certain types of properties. Like our one in Lakeside right now, not getting a lot of action, and it's priced, you know, pretty comparable to what it should be. It's just going to take a little bit longer and the right buyer to buy it. Let me pull up, share my screen.
Can I ask you a question, George?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
So when you have a property that ordinarily you might believe it would have gone faster than it does, at what point do you begin to look at a price improvement?
Absolutely. So I have that. Yeah, I have that conversation up front with my sellers right when we come up with the pricing strategy. So
Right.
I let them know, you know, I'll price the home wherever you want, but by week 3, we're going to have a conversation.
So
By
about
week,
3, yeah.
I
Okay.
usually do 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Unless the seller's super motivated and wants to get out of that house and needs out of the house, then maybe week 2.
Right.
Or you can do gradual price drops, you know, after week 1, maybe drop it 10K, or it really depends how much you're planning on dropping it. And I think with the type of property.
Thank you.
Of course. Yeah. So on the Altos reports, can everybody see this chart? Yes, no, somebody, one person say yes. All right, cool. San Diego County condos, this is all of San Diego. As you can see, still a very strong seller's market. One thing that I thought was pretty cool on here is relisted properties is down 24%, which means properties are not getting relisted. Whether that be it falls out and they just end up not selling, or they're just selling. the inventory, it is almost flatlined. You can see a little bit, 736. Again, this is condos. Your median list price is 760. Price of new listing 699. That makes pretty much sense. It's kind of been flatlined with days on markets about 3 weeks, which is common in what we're seeing. As long as it's priced right. If you go into houses, so this is single family homes, you're going to look at, it's still a very, I think still a strong seller's market when you're between 60 and 70. And as Josh said, those people that are waiting for rates to come down, this is where they're going to get stuck because the houses are still selling and selling quite high in all of San Diego. I have listings all over San Diego right now, and all of them are moving very quickly with a lot of traction. We had one that fell out twice, and I put it back on the market this weekend, and I'm already over what we were under contract to the other 2 times. So I would also tell your sellers that too, Tulane, is like, once you go under contract, it's not to say that that's a bad thing. Like if it comes back onto the market, because you will find another buyer for either the same price or, equivalent.
Right. Yeah.
The way I tell them, and kind of my Avenida Sevilla one, we only had one offer, but it was, 20,000 over list, and it really still wasn't the number that she wanted. But what I told her and what she kind of agreed upon was, look, if we go under contract first weekend on the market, what does that tell buyers? It tells buyers, oh, this house went first weekend on the market. Even if you come back to the market, it's still a good narrative of, hey, it didn't sit. So it was still an active home. And so those are the conversations I have with the sellers, is like, look, we're better to go under contract at a price maybe you're not 100% on, but at least it gives us that price. Because if you let it sit 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, you're enticing lower ball offers.
Right.
And I don't know the conversations with your seller, but I think,
Well, I'm just talking about the one for 2.7 we have in Encinitas. It's a little different animal at those
it is
prices. They sit on market for up to 45 days
100%.
naturally.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think that's showing the reports to your seller, and then just kind of getting their motivation. How quickly do they want to sell? What is important to them? Is it selling, relatively quick, or is it the dollar amount? So I think you just got to come back to what's most important to them, and then kind of go through a strategy to get there. But yeah, I think you're 100% right. Those price points up there, it's 30, 45, even sometimes 60 days.
Right.
Let's see. Let's go into Riverside County, because I want to check out that one since we do have more agents up there now. All right. So houses up there, you can see it is not as strong as a seller's market as San Diego, but that's always pretty common. Riverside does go down quicker than San Diego. Those are the houses. And then you have condos trending towards more of a buyer's market getting there. And I can speak to mine on the market right now is, we've been on the market for 53 days. Yes, we did have 2 offers, but they weren't where my seller wanted it. So condos are sitting a little bit longer. Days on market you see is 56, 56, 56, all price points, which is kind of crazy. And then if you go into single family, and remind yourself, this is all of Riverside County. So it's not just Temecula, Marietta, it goes into the lower price points too, all the way out into the boonies. So if you want to get specific, let's do Temecula. So all of Temecula, you can see, is now more of a stronger seller's market. Condos, same way. Marietta. Still a strong seller's market. Condos and houses. So when you see the overall for Riverside County, that's bringing in Corona, Riverside, all those other areas that maybe might not be as hot. I did want to ask you, Josh, what loans do you see being used currently as like the top, the amount of loans you're doing currently? Is it the FHA conventional?
I can tell you right now on our mix, just looking at our closed loans for the month of July,
Mhm.
we had right here, one FHA,
Okay.
4 VA, 11 conventional loans
Okay. So
for
you're
the month of
seeing,
July.
yeah, so you're seeing more conventional than
Yep.
almost.
And then if I go back to June, I had where we had 3 VA, 2 FHA, 6 conventional. So it's not impossible to get your FHA and VA offers accepted, not by any means. It's just,
Yeah.
you know, as a team, of course, all of the brand and my other agents, just as a whole, you send over more conventional leads than you do FHA or VA.
Okay, makes sense. I just wanted to get an idea of that because I'm seeing kind of a mix on my listing. So I'm seeing a few, well, down in San Diego, I'm seeing a lot of VA FHA, down in National City, obviously for obvious reasons. And then my Oceanside listing closer to Pendleton is FHA VA. But then I have, my condo in Vista is more conventional cash. So it's kind of, the different areas are kind of what you're going to see. But like Josh said, it's not impossible to get FHA accepted. My Oceanside one, we initially went under contract with an FHA buyer. So it's not, again, it's not out of the norm. So don't write it off that, oh my gosh, they're FHA, we can't get them accepted, because there's still opportunity. I guess I'll kind of open it up for anybody else or dialogue on the market, questions, what you're seeing. Anyone need help with anything? Want to run through scenarios with your clients?
I'll add to just real quick. We for a while, this was happening when I said it last time. When you send over or you refer clients to us, number one, thank you so much. Love it. I got to take my old man readers off. Thank you so much. Love it. Awesome. We saw when we reply to that email or the text in FUB, if you follow it up with an email or a text after we follow up saying something like, hey, glad you guys connected, or hey, Tim, make sure you get back to Josh, or hey, Tim, Taylor just sent you a text. Can you let him know when you're available? Anything, just little things, doesn't need to be big. It really does help a lot in the conversion. And we track our conversion really tightly as far as referrals sent over, applications taken, documents received, all that kind of stuff. And there's definitely an increase when we have your support following up on the leads. Again, doesn't need to be a huge thing, but if you see a reply email from us or a text from us in FUB, if you can just take that 10 seconds to reply and say, hey, can you get back to Josh? Can you get back to Kevin? Can you get back to Jordan? It does help quite a bit. So I don't know if you guys can work that into your systems, if you can remember to do that. But from a conversion standpoint, which it's all about conversions, just get the opportunity to actually talk to people, it'd be huge. When we send the document needs list, that should be a cue or a trigger for y'all to say, hey, great, so glad you guys talked. When can you get these documents over? And if we team up like that, it really helps pin the clients down, because now they know that both the agent and the loan officer are asking them for stuff or wanting to reach out or whatever the case might be. It really does help a lot.
I want to speak to that as well. So in 2022, I had the privilege of doing 27 transactions with PGS. 27 of my 33 were with PGS, and I found the best conversion that I had with those clients was exactly what Josh is talking about, but it's not just with text. So the procedure that I do is I send the text on a group text. I also follow up with an email. So I put everybody on an email saying, hey, Matt, connecting you with, I don't know, Omar. Can you please connect with him at a time to talk about the loan process and get it going, right? But what you also need to do is build a relationship with the loan officer that's reaching out to them, right? So, hey, did you follow up with Omar? Did you talk to Omar? If not, I'm going to ping him, right? And I'm going to ping Omar. I'm going to get him on the line. I'm going to be like, hey, where are we at with the process? Because like Josh is saying, if you double team the client, they're going to say, okay, these two are actually working together, one, and two, they're invested in me pushing forward to do this loan process. Are you
Yeah.
going to have some that fall through the cracks? Of course, everybody does. But I think for the highest conversion, as long as you hit them from every angle, which is email, text, calls, just like you do any other client, right? And Christian, you can attest to this because your group messages that go out, you have a higher conversion when the agent responds back after you send the group message saying, hey, nice to meet you. I set you an appointment tentatively for 10:30. Here's the agent's info. Usually when the agent responds back, it's a higher conversion rate of either A, getting them on the phone, or B, them actually showing up to the appointment.
Yeah.
And when the agent doesn't respond, I mean, I'm just throwing it out there, but I can bet you it's probably what, a 10-20% rate that they're actually showing up.
Yeah, it's most likely not a no-show for sure.
Yeah. So
yeah, definitely helps out.
So I think you take that conversion with a client on just getting them to show up to an appointment, to go see a house, use that same conversion with the lending side. And we built such a great relationship with PGS. It would be, I think we have a good enough team to do it, and everybody's small enough. It's not like you're going to, obviously you can't use this with Rocket Homes. You can't use this with, well, you might be able to use it with Veterans United, but maybe not, because their loan officers don't work the same because they're such a huge company. But I can tell you the way I've worked with PGS and the highest conversion that I've had there was because I did all the steps Josh just talked about and more. So don't just send over a referral to Josh and then go ghost, because I could tell you more than likely that client's either A, going to another lender, or B, going to another agent.
Yeah, and I'd say, and even if you do submit over to us and you go, if you don't reply back, we're still going to follow up on your guys' clients.
Right.
I'm going to share my screen one more time just to give you guys an understanding of how we are following up on these things. I think you might find it interesting. Here is the, oh, wrong one. Sorry. Here it is. Here is the lead sheet that we track every single day. And every day we go through our pipeline review meetings, and we also go through all of the leads. So whoever's assigned to it, client, who it is, who referred it, type of transaction, all their contact information. And then we have all of our notes built in. So every single time we touch a file, whatever the status might be, we're building the notes in. And then over here, this is did we take a full application? How many times did we attempt to reach out to them? Sometimes we lag a little bit, and we're supposed to put every single time that we reach out to a client. E is for email, phone call, voicemail, FUB, text, whatever. If they sent in documents, if they completed the pre-approval process, and if we're putting them on a campaign. We haven't had a marketing coordinator who starts tomorrow, which I'm super excited about. So we'll get back on the campaigns, but we will follow up on every single lead that you guys have, and every single lead will have a status, whether approved, on hold. On hold is usually, not going to buy for another year, whatever. If it's dead, either they told us pound sand, or they're just not replying, or they don't qualify. But we will follow up on everything you guys send us. We have protocols and process for every single one. Okay. But it does help immensely when you guys get involved in the follow-up as well.
Can you go back so I can steal those clients from those other agents? Yeah. So anybody got anything else with the market? What are you guys seeing out there? Anything?
Man, I'll tell you this. I know you guys are working hard. I talk to you every single day, and you guys are out grinding and hitting the pavement. So big congrats. I had a great lunch with Cherie and Annabelle last week, and you guys are hustling. So keep up the great work from the loan side. Just we appreciate all the hard work you guys are putting in.
Thanks, Josh. Yeah, it's still really competitive out there, guys. I lost out on one. Just found out over the weekend, actually, which was kind of weird. But yeah, so it went way over, way over for a low condo.
The
So,
same, Taylor just lost out 100,000 over an Encinitas condo.
mm,
Nuts.
Yeah, that hurt. That's a lot.
Well, and the comps don't support it at all. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
That is one thing. I'll tell you this, so far, we have not had any appraisal issues either. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but oftentimes when you see rapid appreciation and values going way over, we
Mhm.
haven't in the last 2 or 3 months, and we might have had one, but most of the appraisals have been coming, right in where we needed to come in at.
So I've had one, and then Sherry Johnston just had one as well.
Yeah.
But again, it's going to be dependent on the appraiser.
Yeah.
To be honest, we fought the appraisal when I got it up 20K, which is got it to come up to value. But again, you may have to do that for your clients. And does everybody know how to fight an appraisal? Yes, no, the process ish, kind of. I mean, we can go through it a little bit because we have time, but yeah, so basically when you fight the appraisal, you're going to go back to the lender, and basically they're going to send something. Essentially, you're doing a paper appraisal of your own, right? And you're going to send your comps, you're going to send, the upgrade list, you're going to send whatever the appraiser didn't use. You're going to submit that to the lender. Lender will fight it. And then, it's up to the appraiser if they even use it. And then on top of that, you can do a reconsideration of value as well, which is an additional piece. But know with this stuff, it does take time. It's not like you can submit the rebuttal and you're going to get an answer tomorrow. Sometimes it's 3 days, sometimes it's 10. A reconsideration of value can take up to 3 weeks. I know with Rocket Homes, they tell us 3 weeks. So it's really got to be, you got to be in touch with the buyer's agent, seller's agent, and you guys all have to be on the same page and work together if that's the route you're going to go.
I've only done 2, George. So one I won and the other one I didn't. What's your, is it a half and half, or do you usually win them, or you lose
Well, I've
them?
only had to do 2. One was with PGS and we got them up. It was a VA that was 110,000 low down in Del Cerro.
Mhm.
Last year. We got them up 75K, which is all we needed anyway to do the loan, which was great.
Yeah.
So I'm at 100% rate, but that doesn't mean that
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
that's what I'm gonna be, because it's only been 2.
Right. Yeah.
And Josh, I think he even said when we won that one, it was like out of left field, because he's like, in all of, I think, 5 years or something of when he's done it, like, you don't usually win, especially that high.
Yeah.
And Josh, I have a question for you real quick. I was helping, I think it was Annabelle, it might've been Rosie, but we were talking about when appraisals get waived, by the lender. Is it like if they put 100,000 down, they don't need to do an appraisal? Is there an actual number, or what determines them to waive doing an appraisal to begin with? I know it's got to be a certain amount of down payment, or.
Yeah, no, great question. So the actual rules, if you look at Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, their guidelines for a property inspection waiver. So if you guys ever hear us, we got a PIW and we're celebrating. PIW stands for property inspection waiver, and that just means you do not have to do an appraisal. Okay. So number one, you're never going to get one on a price point over $1 million. Okay. If you're putting down if it's a 1.2 price point and they're putting 400K down, you're not getting a PIW. It's not going to happen. Number two, the rules say that they only need to put down 10% to be eligible for a PIW. I haven't seen one with 10% in a long time. Every time we see one, it's with 20% down or more. Okay. And the process isn't just, hey, they're putting down 20% and they've got great credit scores and they've got this much in reserves. That all weighs into it. But each property, the way it was explained to us is that each property has, we'll call it a scorecard. Okay. And if the price point of that home is, say, 500,000, and that scorecard says that it's within 490 to 510, well, then you're going to get the PIW, right? But if that price of home is 550 and that scorecard is 490 to 510, then you're not going to get it. Doesn't matter how great your credit scores are, how much money you're putting down, etc. There is a portion of the algorithm that has to do with the actual AVM that the computer model is running. Does that make sense? And
Yep.
you don't get to see that scorecard. So it's not like it's, well, if you just bring the price down, you're going to get it. You run it as is, and it tells you what it's going to be. But I tell you what, it's a big, big advantage when when we're in that range, have us run the DU or LP, the AUS, automated underwriting system, before you submit an offer. Because if you can go into the offer with the PIW, then you're pumped. It just looks that much better.
Cash
right?
offer.
Yeah. And remember, this is only conventional loans. You're not going to get it on an FHA loan. You're not going to get it on a VA loan, and you will not get it on a jumbo loan.
And I kind of want to speak to that too, is when you try to do this with Rocket, they won't do it because they don't run property specifics before you go under contract. So I think I've had maybe one lender at Rocket do it, and he even told me like he did it like off the books type thing. But I've done it multiple times with Matt at PGS, and kind of like Josh was saying, there's really no rule, like you don't know the price points. So what I had him do is, okay, run it at 510, write it at 520, run it at 530, and see if we get the check mark or not. Or if we increase our down payment to 25% or 30%, if you have the wiggle room with your client's money, like play with it a little bit. Because like Josh is saying, that's especially in this market right now, that PIW is going to be huge because you waive your appraisal, and don't just waive your appraisal. Explain to the listing agent an appraisal is not getting done. Because a lot of listing agents, if they're newer or they've been in the business a long time and they don't know the verbiage, they don't understand what an appraisal waiver is. They think you're just waiving the appraisal, and if you're going to do an appraisal and it's going to come in and if you'll cover the gap. That's not the case, because if you're competing against someone with an appraisal gap, yours is actually better because it's no appraisal at all. So we need to do a better job of explaining that when you do get the PIW.
Yeah. And to George's point, it's not a matter of how much time you've been a real estate agent, because you have 20-year, 30-year real estate agents that are like, wait a minute, you tell me, I don't know why they're from the South, but you telling me you don't have to do an appraisal? And I got to explain it over and over and over again. So I love the idea of playing with your client's money in the sense that, hey, if you go in at 515, you're not getting a PIW, but if you go at 520, you do. And man, that extra 5K, 10K, depending on your client and how, understanding they are of the market, that's an awesome way to try to be creative to get a deal.
Good to know. Good to know.
And I'll tell you, I've seen more accepted PI, and I don't know, this is just because Matt and I have tried to figure out multiple times the algorithm, but we can't do it. But I've seen more on single family homes with no HOA than I have on condos or single family homes with HOAs. Don't know if that's a rule of thumb or maybe because it's payments included. I don't know, but single family homes with no HOAs, I've seen more accepted than condos and single family homes with HOAs. Again, might just be out of left field, and it might just be it happened and that's the way it worked, but something cool to think of.
Good to know.
Cool.
Yes.
I guess kind of going within the market, what are people doing with their offers to get them accepted? Because I've seen a few come over, and I've seen a lot of people still including Section 1 termite in their offers. And I can tell you, if you can get your buyers on board to negotiate that through repairs, your offer is going to look so much cleaner than somebody that keeps putting it in with Section 1. Obviously with VA FHA, you gotta keep your guidelines a little bit tighter, but I think if you have a conventional buyer or even cash, keeping those out does have you separate yourself a lot from the other people. And that's not to say the seller won't do it either. It's they just don't want it on the offer to commit to it right off the bat. Because like my seller on Oceanside, they didn't put it in their contract, but we know there's $4,000 worth of termite that needs done. he's not going to risk the deal falling through because he's not going to do the Section 1 termite. So we agreed to it, even though they didn't put it in their contract.
Yeah, if it's that competitive, I wouldn't put it in. I wouldn't put in that you're going to do any requests for repairs, that you're just going to do inspections.
See,
It's
I
risky,
don't,
but you know,
the request for repairs, I don't know. I've only done that like once or twice, depending on the market, but I don't ever feel comfortable doing it, but that's just my personal opinion.
yeah.
Unless like I did it on a new construction a newer home that was built in 2019 in Canopy Grove, Harmony Grove. But that's because literally like 3 items came up on the whole inspection.
Yeah.
And it's all warranted. So it's still got the building warranty, it's still got the appliance warranty, it's still got all that stuff. But I don't know. Unless you have such a savvy buyer that doesn't really care and can take that on,
Or I guess it depends on how the condition of the house of what you can see. And then, you know,
Right.
Obviously you don't know, we're not inspectors, but if you waive that part of it, again, not that I necessarily recommend this, but like, who's to say once you're in escrow, you still ask for it? Even though you
for
waived
sure.
it, then because they might be like, well, we don't want to go back in. Let's just fix this couple things or whatever. Or if it's not like thousands and thousands of dollars, it's just little stuff. Just tell your buyer, like, suck it up and just take care of it once you and do it whenever you want. You know what I mean? Like, but still always do the inspection, get the report, know what you're dealing with, but just get that offer accepted. And even if it gets a little messy during escrow, at least you're in escrow, you know. I don't know. That's my little.
No, I agree. The first step's getting into escrow.
Yeah.
And then you deal with all the
And then
negotiations.
saving the escrow as much as possible, whatever you can do, you know.
Yeah. So I just think I also think keeping your home warranties down to a minimum. Because I've been seeing a lot come in on my properties where I can tell the agents didn't even look at the brochure because they're just writing a standard number in there. And like my townhome, right, or a condo, they had it at $800, and I'm like, a condo for $800, like that's crazy. So you can tell that the agent like obviously didn't change it and they just kept it standard throughout the contract. So those little pieces, like, yeah, you know, $400 might not mean a lot to some people, but $400 could change your offer compared to someone else if it's a seller that needs every penny.
Yeah.
What's the other stuff that I would keep
I would
out?
say real quick too, from our standpoint, if you guys add PGS to the offer email, we will always reply back right away, you know, raving about the client. That's number one. Number two, if you don't need to give us the contact information, you know, in an email, but if you put it in the RPA, that does make it a little bit easier for us. We're calling the listing agents as well. So an email, then immediately call. And if they pick up, hey, did you get my email? I just want to tell you about this. And if they don't pick up, then we rave about them on the voicemail as well. So we're really trying to do everything we can to, you know, help you guys put our clients' best foot forward so we can get an escrow. And if you don't put it on RPA, we try to Google it and try to find it. It's just easier if you put it on the RPA.
Page 16, right? I think that's the only place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's good to know. I'll let
Yeah,
people-
just do MLS Connect, you guys. And as long as the listing agents put all their stuff in the MLS, like
Yeah.
all of our listings, Lauren puts it in there for us. Most agents do.
Yeah.
And automatically pulls it over for you. So it's not any extra work for us.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Speaking of that,
Yeah.
I've seen a couple offers come through on my listings and a couple on our team. It's missing the broker number and the boxes where it's saying who you're representing. They're not getting checked. So I don't know
Oh, the agency disclosure at the first paragraph,
where it says like your broker-
represent seller,
Yeah,
represent
exactly.
buyer. Yeah.
I just had to.
Yeah. Cause without that,
offer-
there's not a ratified contract. It's
Yeah.
null and
No wonder
void.
if they're not doing the MLS Connect on that, because I had one, I was looking over somebody who wrote an offer and I helped them out and I looked at it and it didn't have that. And I was like, are you using MLS Connect? She's like, what's that? I showed her how to do it. One thing I wanted to add real quick, 'cause you made me think about it with the MLS Connect is, you know, like as far as North County, I think a lot of the MLS numbers start with NDP and then the number. If you do lowercase, it will not show up. If you do uppercase, it will show up. So that's
Copy
something I
and
learned fairly
paste.
recently. What's that?
Copy and paste.
Yeah, copy and paste, or if you're typing it in, make sure it's exactly like.
Yeah.
And then I think like SDAR might end in SD or something. I don't know them by heart,
Yeah, it
but
does.
make
Yeah.
sure it's exactly what it is. Or anytime you put an MLS number, if it says it doesn't show up, double check and really look and figure that out. I think I figured that out with Annabelle. Actually, there was a property that one of her clients was looking at, and we couldn't find it, and finally figured out it's case sensitive. So just word to the wise.
Yeah, I think the offer I got on my Bel Air property, they were missing the broker number for real, and then the 4 boxes weren't checked.
Yep.
So, and then I saw it on an agent on our team that their offer also was missing both. So I
Yep.
was like, I wonder if it's a zip forms.
I had that on my listing that I have now, the offer that I got in, and I had her redo it. She was one that I
Yes.
tell her to do the.
That's what I was gonna
and
say. I
it'll make
don't
it
know how accurate it is, but when I was a Coal Banker years ago, our legal people said, if you receive as a listing agent an offer and those boxes aren't checked, don't check it and send it back to them signed. If they're going to accept, you need
Yeah.
to have them do the boxes and send it
Yeah.
back over.
I was getting ready to do a counter to clean up. There was other stuff that was messy, and she wanted she put in $20,000 for repairs and miscellaneous, like appliances, all this different stuff. And I talked to her and I was like,
Wow.
we just dropped the price 20,000 and left that out. Like, that's fine. We'll drop it. My clients are okay with that, but like, don't have that in it. So I just had to rewrite the whole thing versus a counter to clean up all her mess, basically. So
Yeah, I will say this offer was pretty messy too. So
yeah.
like she did a home warranty with no price. She did. Yeah. Anyway.
Mhm.
But again, going over offers and getting your offer accepted, those matter. All of
Yeah.
that matters.
And make sure the rest of the agents, like, that you are doing clean offers. Double check, make sure everything's signed, everything's checked, everything that you want, triple check it before you send it out, because as a listing agent, you don't want to, like this one, I'm in escrow with this lady, but I also feel like, thank God she has a TC. That's all I can just say is that, because I thought like, okay, this is going to be a lot of hand holding for her or whatever, and it's just extra work for us or any listing agents, extra work. If we see like a real sloppy offer, doesn't always mean that you're not going to get your offer accepted, but the better you can make it presentable, the better the chance.
For sure. Definitely. All right. Well, I don't got anything else. Josh, you got anything? Anybody got anything? If not, we can end it.
No, you guys are doing fantastic, and we are here if you need us. If you have any issues at all with communication from Taylor or Jordan, please tell me. If you have any issues, I actually will end it with this. If you have any issues with PGS at all, like, obviously I'm always here. Don't keep it a secret. There's nothing you guys can ever say that would upset me or, make me feel like you don't like us or something like that. If there's, I need to know so that we can manage it and that we can make it work, right? So if there's anything that you're seeing that, isn't to your expectations, please let us know. Don't ever feel like you can't say something, because that's the last thing I'd ever want, is for something to be wrong, me not know about it, and then have you guys be upset. So always feel free. I'm always here.
Can you fix your color?
Anything but that.
Cool.
Thank you guys. Appreciate
All
y'all.
right,
Have a phenomenal
Thank
day.
you guys.
See you later.